The next step is to take 2 bits of balsa like this. It's 1.5 millimeters thick, and we glue them on top of the center section. There's one thing that sort of tells us not to glue 2 separate pieces of balsa down, and that is if we want to get the joint to be very smooth, then there's nothing underneath to hold. When you're sanding, you just sand where the rib is, and the part between the ribs is pushed away, and so we get a valley on top of the rib and a hill between. So we have to glue these together on the table. I'm going to move the wing away and then use the table to glue together these 2 balsa sheets. When you glue these together, when you put them together, you see that the edges are not straight. So we begin by straightening the edges. It's very simple. Just use a sanding block and sandpaper. And since this is so short, it's quick work. You could, of course, glue it together, but then the joint would have holes in them. Now we can use it like this and put some weights on it and then glue it together, or fasten it together with some packing tape, which does not really stick to CA glue. The end also disappears sometimes. There we are. There we have the completed sheet, and we want to put some glue on it. We open it like a book and put some glue in the joint. I use the thick CA glue. Just enough of it. When you put it down, the glue squeezes out, so a piece of tissue is nice to wipe it away. And then some kicker. While it's still lying here, we run the sandpaper on top of the joint. Try and get it very smooth. We just go in the same direction as the grain of the wood. If we go against the grain, it will just rip them up. So I take off the glue, the tape, put some kicker on, and a sandpaper. Now this is smooth. If I'd done this on top of the wing, it would never have become smooth. Now let's get the wing and glue it down. Now I have to glue this plate down here. It has to overshoot this rib. So it's a good idea to mark how far it's supposed to go. it's supposed to sit like this, and we see immediately that it's far too long, so I mark just a little bit where I can cut off it, so then I can just use the ruler to cut it off. This is just to make it easier. It's not really necessary, but it's better. Then we just put some glue down. I put glue on all the ribs and the trailing edge. I also put on the front of the sheet. There's a little notch here which this plate sits up against. This here it is sitting beautifully. Just wipe the excess glue away, and we can use a couple of pins to hold it in place just while we're placing it, because then I'm just going to use some weights to hold it down. Put a pin here. There we are. Now I think it's sitting quite well. Now this just has to harden. Now we can mark step 30 finished.